What's going on, everyone? We're back with another one. We're gonna be flying through these. Kind of depends on how they all line out. Anyways, this is a 96 to 2000 EK sedan. It's a bone stock D series right now. This car is super clean, real nice interior, but we're getting ready to change that. This thing's got some leaks. It overheats. It just doesn't run very well. We're actually gonna K-swap this car. So this thing's got a D16Y7. Bone stock. I mean, it's stock as they come, stock airbox, all that. It's just got suspension and wheels on it. We're actually going to be over here putting this K20, I believe it's an A3, maybe an A2, I don't know what it is. It's out of a 2003-ish EP3, so it's got the 5-speed trans. That'll be a fun one. I could actually look at the code here. This thing is a K20 A3. Yep, so that'll be a fun one there. It's going in the sedan. We're gonna dive into it. Waiting on some parts to come in for the Prelude. They'll be in just shortly. But while I'm waiting on that, I'm actually gonna dive into this thing. So first thing first, get this thing up in the air, get this engine dropped out of it. First, we gotta drain fluids, then get this engine out of it. Kind of go from there. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's dive into the time lapse. Alright, y'all, so there is nothing real exciting. You guys have watched me or someone else pull axles and stuff a million times. I do mine a little different and easy. Like I don't like to struggle with things, so I do it as efficient as possible. So within a couple minutes, we got both these axles out. All the fluids are drained on this thing. The exhaust is out of it, and on the exhaust, we actually found a nice crack in it. Yep, so that's cracked all the way throughout. It looks like it runs down and runs down into the shield. It's cracked back here. Oh yeah, it's cracked all around in there. So that might be the issue, part of the issue he was having with this thing, but we definitely do think it's a head gasket that was blowing. It's pushing fluid all over the place and it's just a mess. But anyways, this thing's ready to come out. I've got all my wiring unhooked. I've got I think all my wiring unhooked. I've got all my vacuum lines, all my coolant lines unhooked. I know I got this one here to do yet. I've got the clutch safe cylinder all unhooked. It's sitting over here, so it's out of my way. I truly think I have a couple motor mounts and maybe a hose or two. Other than that, this thing will come right out. It is still full of Freon in the AC, so I've got the AC compressor broke loose, and I'm just gonna let it hang. I don't know if we're going back together with AC on this build or not. So I'm just gonna leave that for now. I don't feel like draining it. It's just a headache with AC. Anyways, that's where we're at. This thing's going really fast. I'm gonna get ready to actually drop this engine out the bottom. I might pull it out the top, I'm not quite sure yet. But anyways, let's dive into that and get it out.
I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Alright, y'all, there it is. Engine's out of the EK. I got all the suspension back together so I can just put the wheels on it real quick. And then this thing will roll around wherever I need it. What I'm gonna do probably is get this Prelude fixed and then get it down on the ground and out. I'll take this thing, push it outside, pressure wash the bay, remove a few more things like the evap canister, these motor mounts. We gotta weld a mount in over on that side. I don't know if the EKs require the EG cross members or not. I didn't even think of that, and I really think they do actually. Otherwise, I can do a bunch of cutting and notching on this one to make it work. So that's something to think about. I know I have an EG one out at Lyle's that I can make work. Anyways, that's where we're at on this thing. I'm gonna get the wheels on it, get it out of my way, and then we will start getting that K-swap in here. This one is an EK hatchback, came in for a K-swap. And we're gonna put a little spoolie boy noises underneath the hood on this one. It's like a 98 2000 model. It's overall a really clean car. Interior's real clean on it. Real stoked to get started in on this one. Look how clean this thing is. Real sleeper status. This one came in, it had a D series in it. We pulled it out. Now we're going K. We have got, I believe, a K20 A2 possibly is what it is over here. This engine transmission combo is gonna make its way into that car. Should be a sweet little hot rod after we get going with it. So let's dive right into this thing. I'm gonna get this engine pulled over there, get it set in place, get the mounts all mocked up on it. And then when we get some warmer weather here, I'll pull it outside, get it all cleaned up. But for now, we're just gonna be doing a lot of mock-up. So let's dive into it.
Always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time.
So I've known this since before I even tried to do this, but I want to try to prove myself wrong, that these will fit with these cross members, and they just don't. There's enough transmission room with them. They're just totally different. And we're trying to keep AC. That's why I went about this backwards. I jacked the car up, brought the engine from the bottom and trying to bring it up, because I know trying to set the engine down in this would be a nightmare. So pulling it up from the bottom should be my easier route, but it is fighting me. This thing still does have Freon in it for the AC, and I don't have a way to drain it. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with that there. And we're gonna get this thing in here that way. I may have to do some modifications, but I'll get it up in here. That's where I'm at. I'm not gonna bore you guys with this time lapse and me fighting it, but I'm gonna get this AC out and then we'll dive back into it. Here's plan 2. We're gonna pull this guy out, replace it with this one here. We've got this coupe sitting down here. It's got a perfect rack, manual rack on an EG cross member, subframe, whatever you want to call it. Might as well just rob that one, put it over here, and then next time we're at Frederick's, we'll replace it with another one. He said he's got a brand new one, manual rack and all, in another car out there. So we'll just rob that one. Bada bing, bada boom. So that's where we're at. Let's dive into getting these things swapped out. And just like that, we have got ourselves an EG member. I stole it out of this one, subframe. This one, I believe I'm going to throw that K series or that EK one back in just so I can keep this thing a roller for now. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and slide this engine back underneath here. Go ahead and jack it up now and see if we can't get it in this hole here. That thing, as you guys can see, has way more room. The other one goes all the way across right there pretty much. You can see it over there. Big ol' ugly thing. Anyways, that's where we're at on this. I'm gonna go ahead and get that K series slammed in. Alright, quick little update. I've learned when I use quality parts, things go together real easy. I've learned when you use eBay parts, there's always a little finagling to them. Every time. Every time, I tell you. This is what we're running into this time. This is the passenger side mount. This one I had to hammer on. She was a little tight, but I got it on there. This one down here, well, the joys of the eBay mounts. Let me show you what we're working with. So if we look at the bottom of this, see how it's actually stepped up right there? And that goes on the back side, right? So the back side stepped up, that side's flush. We got that. Okay, the problem with that step up is it hits right down here on that there bolt. And you can see there's a collar on this bolt. That seats all the way down into the block like so. There's a collar on this one too. And unfortunately, these don't fit over those collars. That one does, because you can actually kind of see the groove in it. See that groove? How it's grooved? That's for the collar. This one, well, not so much. I think what they want you to do is pull those studs out and use the old bolts that they gave you. But the problem with those is I don't believe they're metric heads. Oh, they are. They're an 18 millimeter. So maybe I'll end up using those, putting all those in there and seeing if that works. But otherwise, we're gonna take a little grinding to this here, wallow out that hole, and make it work. So that's what our holdup is on getting this thing in. Once I get that mount in, I'll do the rear mount, set this thing down, take that mount off, clean it up, set my new one in, do all that fun stuff there. So that's what we're working with on these eBay mounts. We're gonna make them work, but little modifications. Let's see what we gotta do. Shucks, y'all. Yeah, there's a few minutes there at least. Anyways, this thing's sitting in here on its own wheel. Yep, that's right. All the mounts are in. Driver side, passenger side, and the rear mount. So she is solid. I think she's pretty, yep. If you guys look there, that's nice and centered. If we put that there, nice and centered. So everything is level. Engine sitting in there pretty nice. Things are super close. This AC line's really close. Alternator's real close. I think that he has a relocation bracket for the pulley up here. Few little things are close, but we do have that EG cross member in there, and that gave us all the room that we needed. As you guys can see, it sits back right here into that, and that is not cut out on this. So that is basically this section here. And it hits right in there. You could cut that up. The EF guys, they either cut theirs or they use the EGs as well. I believe that's how that works. Anyways, I'm gonna put some wheels and tires on this thing, clean up my mess from underneath it, set it on the ground, find the stinking 18 millimeter I lost, because I have just been on a tool losing spree. Got projects everywhere, and we put all the tools back, and now I'm losing them. Isn't that just great how that works? Anyways, yeah, that's a quick little update. That's where we're at on this thing. Next is gonna be getting the shifter box in it, shifter cables hooked up, figuring out what axles we need, getting a radiator hooked back up, figuring out what we're doing with AC. We might be able to basically cut this off, flip it, weld it back on, and that line will work. Maybe the same with this one, and that'll put the pump back over there. So we may be able to get away with those lines. Doubt it, but it's a nice thought anyways. And yeah, once we get that, axles, the wiring harness is all here. We got all this parts for days over here. That's turbo stuff. I really don't know what we all have left for engine stuff on this thing. I don't know, we'll find out as we get there. There's lines, all sorts of good stuff. He packed us full, So that's where we're at, K-swapping an EK, and let's get this thing running. We are back on the EK here. We had a fun weekend out autocrossing. We got Doug's car finished up. A lot's happened in a short time here since we've opened up the shop. We've got about all the parts we need for this. We've got exhaust. We've got an ECU over there with version 4, I believe. He brought us K-swap axles, so that makes that real nice. Right now, I think I'm gonna work on getting these shift cables ran, getting the shift box put into place, getting these wheels pulled back off, getting the axles in it. Just a lot of little things here. And then we'll figure out how we're gonna do this wiring harness, getting it dropped down into the car, getting a few things removed, getting the new fuel rails put on, fuel rail put on with the new fuel system, and buttoning this thing up. It should be real close here. After we get it running, we'll jump into that turbo kit, getting it mocked up, running the intercooler piping, wastegates, blow off valves, all that fun stuff there. Hope you guys are enjoying this series here. I know Donovan is. He's just been having a blast with this thing. Just kidding, he's been working. He's a working man. Anyways, let's dive into this thing, see what we can get done on it today, and hopefully get it running here by the end of the week. Well, there I was taking all the interior out of the car to get the shift cables put in, just to realize we don't have any. So on to the next project here. I think what I'm gonna start on is the wiring now. I'm just kind of pushed it through over there, see if that'll work. I think I'm gonna have to get the turbo manifold on to see how much room I really have. Remove this evap stuff here, tidy up some of that, and then make sure this wiring harness can go through right there where the factory one did. And if it does, heck yeah. If not, we'll figure out where we gotta go. I know the cable's gotta go down through the bottom of the car, so I'm gonna have to cut a hole there, get those cables to go through and come up, because we are keeping the coolant hoses and all that good stuff here. So we'll just probably come right about the same area with those shift cables, come around, hook some coolant lines up, work on some wiring, get this fuel rail changed out. Just a few little things that we have here that I need to get this car started. Hopefully get this thing fired up in the next day or so, and if it's healthy, we'll throw the turbo kit on. If not, back to square one. Let's dive back into this thing. Well, this has escalated quickly. We got the manifold off, took off that plastic cover that holds all this wiring, but then I had to pull the seats out of this thing, pull the carpet back, and get the dang lower rear seat defrost, whatever you want to call it, heater part pulled out of it, so I can make access for those cables to go through right down there. This thing still will have heater for the front half, just the back half won't have heater. Had to cut that guy out. A little bit of weight reduction going on over here, but that leads us to our ECU. I've been playing with it, and we got pretty straightforward. This wiring harness from this company is pretty dang nice. I don't even remember the name of it, but it's a good one. That's all I know. We got it plugged in, super straightforward. These two here are for O2 sensors, and then this one here goes over to the driver's side and plugs into the main harness for the the engine, excuse me. And then these ones go to the ECU. Jumper there. These two are the factory plugins, and then that's for your check engine light, and these are pretty basic, simple plug-in ones. I forgot exactly what they said those were for. It's looking like fan switch, coolant temp gauge, charge light, and that's about it. So if we are running an external narrow band, wide band, we have to take the relay out and change a couple things over. I do read these instructions. I get them down pretty good before I start. That's where we're at on these. Interior's all torn apart. I'm gonna keep working on some wiring, getting this ECU put up into the corner, waiting for shift cables to come down. Now I'll probably, after I get that done, work on some lines and some simple things like that. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna dive back into this, see what we can get done. Would you look at that? We got a spoolie boy on there. Just kidding. It's just sitting there. I'm gonna run the exhaust manifold and turbo on there when I fire this thing up the first time, just so it's not open header. I've been working on some wiring on this thing. Going pretty good so far. I went ahead and ran, there's a harness that goes over to that side. It's that black harness. It runs up underneath over to there, and then it actually goes right up underneath there like so. So that's the orange plug there. That's the one that goes over to the ECU that ties into the factory wiring harness on this. Making it pretty easy so far. There's like 2 or 3 wires at most that got to be plugged in. So I'm pretty happy with all the wiring. This harness is going to work the way it is. We'll just tuck it back here up against the firewall. It's right here. Run it back. Another reason I have the manifold on is to see if that was going to work with the wastegate, and it is not. That's going to need to be relocated like I did on the 8th gen. And part of the reason we got to relocate it is that's a V-band, and the other one we have is a 2-bolt flange. So we got to go back to that style. Right now I think I'm going to work on getting this bracket removed, getting the new relocate bracket put on there for the idler and all that. Work on some of this engine based stuff. Maybe do the fuel rail, a few things there. We are waiting for shift linkages to come down and some oil. Once I get oil in this thing, I truly think I'm about to the point of firing it up. I just have to hook some power up, ground the battery, hook a few grounds up on the engine, and this thing should crank over and fire up. Crank over. It won't fire up because there's no fuel to it. That's what I'm going to work on now. I'm going to dive back into that. I'm not trying to bore you guys with a bunch of time lapses on this video here. This is all stuff that's been done before. I'm not doing anything super crazy on this car, just your basic case swap. I know there's a bunch of information out there on the harnesses and things like that. If you want one super simple for your OBD2 car, your 99 2000, check out this wiring harness. It seems to be pretty straightforward. That's where we're at on this. I'm gonna work on this engine, see if we can't get this thing fired up. Just like that, we got a couple insane shaft axles in this thing. They went right in. They seem to be the correct ones. Makes that real nice and easy for us. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start putting on all the accessories that we got for this engine. I think we've got fuel rails, fuel filter delete stuff for the firewall there. We've got the idler relocation, all sorts of just pulleys and accessories and little things you got to put onto these K-series to get them in the car. Like I said, we are waiting for them shift cables to come down. Then we will go ahead and dive into that. It's about our last major thing before we can really try to fire this thing up here. Everything's going pretty smooth on the car. No big hiccups so far. These mounts are a little bit of a bugger. I am finding some good old electrical tie nuts on some of our wiring here, so that's always fun. Other than that, that's about the worst I've seen on it. We got this harness tucked back in. That's that one that goes into the cab harness. That goes over to the other side for the ECU there. That's all real nice and easy. I think we're gonna make everything fit. Turbo needs a little bit of work to get it to fit. I'm not sure quite what we're gonna do with this AC compressor. I still just have it hanging out here. It's kind of in the way. It is filled, that's why I haven't removed it yet. We'll work around it there, but axles are in, wheels are going back on, get the steering rack hooked up, and then I'm really kind of done on the bottom side of this car other than exhaust and shift cables. So let's dive into something else here. Quick little update. We got the idler pulley on there, so that's all good now. We got the relocation bracket. I'm currently working on figuring out how we're gonna do the fuel system on this one. We've got this, I don't even know the name of it here. It's Jackspania is what it looks like. Jackspania. Fuel rail, just kind of going over a few things with it. Fuel pressure regulator and some fuel line. We'll get that all figured out. Looks like we've got a little inline filter here, so we'll get that all hooked up. All sorts of little guys to get figured out there. We've got our throttle cable to go ahead and get in. We've got our feed and return lines here. Exhaust dump there. Wastegate blow-off valve. And that's about it, other than piping and intercooler and running exhaust on this thing. We do have this turn down muffler here and a whole bunch of exhaust piping in the car. That's kind of where we stand on this. I'm gonna keep trucking on this fuel system and see if I can't have that wrapped up by the time the customer comes down. Maybe get this thing fired up here real shortly. We're making some pretty good headway here. I've been getting this fuel system ran. I think I'm happy with it. It's not ideal, but in these engine bays, there's really not a great place to put it with this Sidewinder manifold to keep it away from the exhaust. I could have kept it back here, but then if it would have exploded, it would have shot it all over the exhaust here. So I'm thinking over here, if we at least put a wrap on these lines, put a turbo blanket on it, we should be okay. This line should be out of the way of everything. We should be able to get this right around the top of it, get our water neck around the top of it, and the fuel pressure regulator should be out of the way right there. We've got our filter crammed down right there. So it's the main hard line, the filter comes up into the fuel pressure regulator, into the rail, and then returns out the bottom of the regulator there. I think that's gonna work. I've got the battery tray in it with all the wiring underneath of it, and that should work as well. Right now I am going to take these wires out of here and extend them to back over there so I have my power. These two provided power to the fuse box on the EP3 or whichever chassis this came out of, and then that one went to the battery, so it was something like that. Now I need them both to go right here and give power to that fuse box. Once I get power to that fuse box, I should be able to start this thing. Or at least crank it, see where I'm at for signal, things of that nature. Man, I'm always messy with this. Look at that, now you guys are nice and clean. We can see where we're at after I get that done. I gotta hook this wiring back up, but this thing should be started here in no time. As far as the exhaust goes, it's kind of a funky one. It points right down here, so I'm actually gonna cut it off here. I'm gonna turn it up, and our exhaust is gonna go right kind of behind the manifold here and then drop down on that side of the coolant lines, because I do have both those hooked up. Kind of hard to tell, but this is the lower, this is the upper, and it still does have the adjuster for the heat AC in there. Coolant lines are all good into the cab. Super happy with those. This thing's gonna be hopefully done in no time, but let's hook this battery up, get these powers ran, and see if we can't get a crank on this thing. Well, I got some electrical ran, and I've got power to the inside of the car, but I'm not getting any crank signal by the looks of things. I'm not really sure what's all going on with that. Kind of interesting. I have a few wires that I may have to hook up here. I did pull the fuel pump fuse out, so that shouldn't be the issue, but it could be the issue. On our wiring diagram down here, it shows that these 4 wires need connected. Yellow, green, green, white, blue, green, red. Over here I've got a green and a yellow, maybe a blue over there. So I'm gonna see what that's all about. I don't have any that are both those colors, a yellow, green. I have a yellow or a green, so I'm gonna see if that's what I need. If those are the ones I need, I'll get those pinned in, hooked up, and then we will have all of our power. But as you can see here, if I put the key in, we get some dash lights, but just no signal. Could be something as simple as a ground, could be the signal wire not on the engine. I'm gonna dive in, find a few things, and catch you guys when I'm trying to start this thing again. Well, that was a task. Not a very fun one either, but I think I finally got it. Only time will tell. I got gas all over my face, I got gas all over me. I've changed out 2 fuel rails now. I started off with this one. It looked like it was gonna work great. It's I don't even know that Jack Spania brand. Thought it was gonna work. Pissed fluid everywhere. Fuel just leaked out of it. No matter what I did, it just kept leaking. So, put this other one on. Another no name. Hooked it up. Doesn't seem to be leaking, but time will tell on that also. Then over here, I've now got this old K motor fuel pressure regulator on there. Yep, that's right. Tried this one. Got all my lines hooked up to it. Leaked. No matter what I did, leaked. Put a gasket washer in there. Leaked. It didn't matter, it just leaked. So now we've got this one down in here. Tightened the fitting so tight. Messed it up. So got to put a new fitting on there. Got that all squared away. Now, I don't think there's any leaks. So I can now finally mount that back up like that. We will have that fuel pressure regulator on there, all of our fuel lines. These ones I want to sleeve and run down in case they do blow. I don't know. I'll eBay parts, so I don't trust them. But they're on there. We do have fuel pressure. Also, this wiring diagram, man, throw it in the trash. I've been trying to figure it out. It's been a jumble here. But this one here, they say to hook this yellow wire up to this one right here, which should turn on the fuel pump, and it doesn't. So if we hit the key to where it's on, you can see that we've got dash lights. If we touch this, our fuel pump turns on. But if we connect this one, fuel pump don't do anything. So, ground it, and it works. I've got that figured out. Now I've got to figure out why when you turn the key, it doesn't have any signal. This thing's supposed to be as simple as plug it in, hook it up, away you go. Not the case today. Anyways, we're gonna get that figured out. That's really all I have to figure out to get this thing running. It says right here, hook up those 4 wires. I tried that, it doesn't seem to do anything. Then you get to the back here and it says, as long as this 10's plugged in, your engine should now start. Well, it doesn't. So now we come down here to read these 4 steps. We're gonna remove the relay. We're gonna cut this C101 from 13, switch all those wires around on the pin. Hope, cross our fingers, pray, jump up and down that gives us the crank signal that way we need. If not, I'm gonna tap straight from the starter signal into a fuse on the fuse box, straight into the ignition. So when you hit that key, sends that signal. That's the only other way I know how to do this without tearing up this harness. It could be as simple as them pinning one of them wrong in the harness. Again, eBay special harness. It seems to be okay. Once I figure out the issue, I'll let you guys know. It spitted and sputtered on its own due to a little lack of prep here. I've been chasing my tail trying to figure out some wires and some plugs and some things, and I think I've about got them here. Now I just need to take this yellow wire, connect it back up to the fuel pump. Bear with me, y'all. Hook it up to the fuel pump. And with that hooked up to the fuel pump, and with good power, this thing should fire right on up again. Let's see here. Everything's loose, fuel system's real loose, but it's still a little leaking. It'll be okay for this fire up. We're gonna see if this thing starts. Oh yeah, we got vacuum leaks, maybe wires not hooked up, all sorts of little things. I definitely know we're gonna have one big issue because that's not hooked up there. That's your IAT. Bunch of little things, but it does run. That's a bonus, it runs. I'm gonna dive into cleaning a bunch of things up and seeing if we can't get this thing moving. It's currently 1:09 a.m. here, and I'm gonna toss the towel in tonight. I'm just kind of getting my butt kicked on this project. I don't have anything against eBay parts, but man, oh man, they're just getting me on this one. Anyways, I'm waiting for some exhaust. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go fill up my welding bottle and get some more exhaust so I can keep pumping out this thing. I got all the hot side to do. I was gonna start in on it, but I don't have any elbows that'll make it down here, right into this area there, and go out back. And then I was going to put the rest of the lower exhaust on, and it doesn't match up. I think it's for a coupe, I'm not really sure. So I'm gonna have to talk to the customer, maybe cut some things, weld some things on there. And then our universal intercooler piping kit is only 2.5-inch couplers. And this is like a 2-inch, I believe, or 1.5, 1 3/4, not sure. So tomorrow I'm gonna have to go to Summit and get a reducer for that. And then the dang fuel regulator broke over here on this guy. It was just sitting there and then it just like fell off and broke. So that's another part, had to change that. I don't know what happened there. So I gotta get some things for the intercooler piping. I gotta get some exhaust. Other than that, the car does run, it does fire up, it does have axles in it, and I guess there is an update. I got shift cables in. They're all in. I got the hole made back there. The shift box is in, but I don't have the lower mounting bracket. I have to build one tomorrow for that and get it stationed right where it needs to be. Was gonna start mocking up intercooler, but I don't have any aluminum strap to do that, so tomorrow I'll get some aluminum strap. Like I said, y'all, I'm just striking out. This one's getting me. The feed lighting does not fit. It's a straight. I need a 90, so it'll 90 off of there and go down. The one that we've got is just a straight up and loop. Hits the hood. If I bend it too much, it'll crease, so I cannot do that. I cannot do the down or the wastegate return. Golly, I'm just fluttered here. I cannot do the turbo return line because this is an aluminum bung and we have a steel pan on that car. It's an A3, so it utilizes a steel pan, aluminum bung. They don't mix. So now I gotta source a steel bung so I can get it put on there. I did get some wiring cleaned up as well. It actually looks kind of sharp. Not sharp. OE. This is an OEM cable, and this is actually the OEM cable into the OEM fuse box here. Battery will be in the factory location. Wiring harness, both coolant hoses. It's all hooked up. It actually looks pretty dang good overall. I gotta change these grounds up, clean those up a little bit. A lot of jibber jabbering here, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying this one though. It's kicking my butt. I'm gonna power through it. No matter what, keep a smile on your face and just get the job done, you know, no matter what it takes. Power through them here, get them done. So tomorrow, I'm gonna kick some serious butt on this thing. Waiting for the customer to bring a radiator down. So once I get that in, I can that up a little bit more. My buddy's gonna bring over his AC machine, pull all this AC out, this Freon, so I can just remove that compressor out of my way. Make that easy for me. A lot of stuff happening tomorrow. So let's dive into the next day here. Man, oh man, I have never made an eBay kit look so good, let me tell you. Anyways, I'm in the midst of building the exhaust for this thing. I've got my downpipe built. I don't even know if I showed that or not. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it definitely works. It snakes right down in there and pops right out the back. It does have a 2-bolt flange on it, and that bolts up to this guy right here. That's gonna get welded all the way down. In back, it does have a mount there and a mount there, so we can hang that thing up, or hangers, I guess you guys can call them. I'm gonna go through, MIG this thing up all the way through, MIG this guy up, get it all on, get it on the car, and then we have full exhaust. Once I get the full exhaust underneath of it, I run the cold side of the turbo, and we are real close to wrapping this thing up. Tomorrow I'm gonna have the wife come down, help me put all the interior back together, get it all cleaned up, get this thing back on the ground, and get it looking like a complete car again. Anyways, I'm gonna dive into welding this up, throw you guys into a time lapse, let you see a little buzz there of my MIG work, and see what we can get done. I'm working on a TIG, that's my thing. So I've got a TIG welder right here. I've been practicing like crazy on it, getting all my settings dialed in. Aluminum and I, we're getting along pretty good. Stainless and I, we still got a little work to do. That's the main reason we went out and bought this guy today. It's made my life a dream, absolute dream. I don't know if it's better than a bandsaw, but by golly, you just put that metal blade on and zip, cut right through this stuff. Enough jibber jabbering, let's weld it. Okay. Some better than others. I had a couple little boogers, but dang. Those all look pretty dang nice, all right? Y'all can beat me up for not tigging it, for this and that, but overall, they all went pretty dang good. I'm not mad at it. That exhaust is all welded up. That is one big old piece, but the exhaust isn't very heavy, and it does have a hanger there, and it has a hanger there, bolts to the header there, and then the muffler has its hanger as well. There's 3 or 4 hangers along the way. I may add another to it, but that's where I'm at. It's like 1-ish, 12:30 a.m. We be putting in the work. Downpipe's built, full exhaust is built, fuel system's built, engine runs, starts, cranks over, axles are in, shift linkages are in. I gotta build that shifter box, cold side for the turbo system, and I think this one's a wrap. I'm gonna go ahead and let that cool down, get it installed in the car, head home, get ready to come knock some more out tomorrow. Hope y'all are enjoying it. I know I am. I'm really loving this fab stuff. It makes me use my brain way more than painting. You just sand some cars, look down them, make sure they look good and straight, then you're happy with them. This, you get a look at it and go, oh, that one turned out good, that one turned out bad. I have a couple that I could nitpick on this myself, and I'm learning. I'm getting better. I've never been a full-time welder. I've never been a full-time fabricator. Just kind of a jack of all trades, you know? Anyways, let's dive back into this thing and see how this exhaust sounds. Close the hood on the girl and you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's boosted. I just got all the exhaust on, got it on the ground. Check out that tip. Oh yeah, big guy. I just wanted to make sure everything was the way it's supposed to be. Hangs down just a little right through the back right here, but definitely not bad. Not bad at all. Clears the lower control arm with lots of room right over there. Super, super happy with all that. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this thing up real quick. See what it sounds like. Just because. Maybe. Let's see. Fuel pump works. Oh yeah, exhaust leaks. Manifold's like barely on. It's making noise out the back. Making noise out the back. All right, so there's your update. It runs. Like I said, it's definitely gonna have some leaks. Turbo manifold's very loose. There is no wastegate on it at all, so it's just dumping it out there. This turbo manifold has no gasket, so that's loose. One bolt holding the turbo on, so that's loose. Everything's tight enough for all my mock-up, but loose enough, easy to remove. I think I'm gonna go home. It's now like, I don't even know, 1 o'clock in the morning. I've had a good day. Tomorrow, I'm gonna bust out the old TIG welder, build me some pie cut aluminum pieces off of that. We're just gonna come in, cut some pies out of this guy, nice and thick. Use the TIG welder, weld those up, make a little elbow that comes around. I don't know how much I'm gonna do. I kind of just wanna kick that just like that, and then I'm gonna put a coupler and a 90 down with it. Once I do that, and kick it over, kick it around, intercooler will sit right here in the front. Should have plenty of room. But I'm gonna go home, catch some Z's. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. I suppose this is where I call it a night. I said I was gonna catch y'all in the morning, but man, I just kept on trucking with this thing. Feeling pretty good about it. There's a lot of little things that I wouldn't do if it was my vehicle, but I'm working with what we got. I'm working with the customer's budget, and I'm working with the parts he provided. I'm not about to tell him, take everything you bought, take it back, go buy different stuff, go buy better stuff. That's not the case. Some things you can get away with, I guess. So what I've done is I actually got the wastegate mounted. I had to put this 2-bolt flange on there. The wastegate usually comes out the bottom. If you guys watched the 8th gen build video with the turbo kit, you'll see that we cut it off also, and we moved our wastegate to about the same spot. Just on the 8th gen, it sits really far back there. But that's an old school 2-bolt style, like 38 mil wastegate on there. I'm gonna run a wastegate dump just over and down because there's plenty of room. It'll clear the coolant hoses, all that good stuff. Heck, I might see if he wants a hood exit. Who knows? Exhaust is fully on. It's bolted down. It's ran down. It's ran out the back of the car. It's back here. I showed it to you guys earlier. It looks good. It's solid. As far as the interior goes, I need to get the bracket built for the shift box because we do not have that lower section. Once I get that made, we can put all the interior back together, wrap that side of the car up. The customer did order me a new feed line and a return bung. The bung we had, as I said, was aluminum. He got me a steel one. So tomorrow I can go ahead, get the oil out of that, get that welded up, get the feed and return done for the turbo. With that, I need to put the clutch line on, bleed the clutch. Once that's done, as I've said 100 times, cold side, start this thing, get it out of here. But there's the little update for you. I'm finally gonna go home, catch a few hours of sleep, come back tomorrow, knock this thing out. Man, you know it's a good day when that truck rolls up. We got our boy Turk down here. He's helping me on this EK. He just got back into town from Massachusetts. We're whipping up some work on the EK. We're gonna do the intercooler. He just kind of dived in. I was doing some cleaning. He built me a shift box today. All sorts of little stuff. He's just been helping me out on this EK, trying to get it knocked out. So that's a little update. I've cut a couple pies. We're gonna start routing some intercooler piping here now. And that's really the last thing I have to do on this other than put a radiator in it and button up some wiring and a few loose ends. So let's dive back into this thing and see if we can't get this old intercooler mounted on the front of this. Man, this video is gonna be just straight to the point, let me tell you. We've been down here working. I had my boy down here helping me with a few things. He just got into town, like I said. We went ahead, got the intercooler all mounted. We went ahead, drilled some holes through the top of the support, put some studs in it, bolted it all down, so that's all nice and tight there. Real tight. Yep, that'll work. Then I went ahead, ran this side here. It's gonna be ran generic, kind of like a B series. Up to the inside. Then I went ahead, I welded this extension on. It's a bit long. It's not really the extension I wanted. I was gonna do a pie cut and then another one and kind of kick that to a 90. I was gonna have it come off and then down and then meet in. But the way that this pipe went, that all worked good. I could have welded a little short guy on right there, had a hose or a coupler right here, a small piece of pipe, and then this other coupler to attach those. I suppose I could have welded this one, this to this pipe, and then had one coupler, but this pipe is actually, this was just enough that if I tapped it, it went up right over the housing here. So that's what I did. I tapped it on there, got the angle I wanted, welded it. I'm still learning my aluminum welds, but by golly, these ones, 2 past it, it isn't gonna leak. I can guarantee that. That's about all the headway we really have. Ryan was able to get in here. Turk, my boy Turk, get this all knocked out. We just did little spacer bushings down underneath of it. Used this plate because it bolted to this one here. And now we got gears. Just a 5-speed transmission on this one by the seams of things. We also went ahead and threw this K20 shift bushing on there. We did have to make some adjustments to get it. I don't know, there's different types and sizes of bushings, but we were able to just drill out the center of the bushing, get it on there. It's nice and snug, everything working as it should. Here in the next day or so, the customer is going to come down with the actual radiator that we're going to be using. I just threw this one in to kind of check some clearances to see how I can get that pipe to go behind it, because this is not a back door, it's a pass-through intercooler. So that one's going to go this way, up, loop in. It'll go behind there, just like that. As soon as I get that done, this thing is literally about wrapped up. I need the oil feed and oil drain parts, weld my bung in, call this a day. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Let's wrap this car up, get it back to the customer, and finish out this video. It's Saturday down here, everyone. My personal day. But today, I'm learning even more into depth this TIG welder. I've been kind of teaching myself. I've been dabbling on it. I welded some bungs on Donnie's car. I welded some bungs on some manifolds. welded the aluminum pipe on that car, and I started putting this car together. Here, let's go take a look at it actually. Started putting this thing all together, and I'm not gonna lie, it reminds me of like Fast and Furious days. 1 coupler, 2 coupler, 3 coupler, 4 couplers, 5 couplers, 6 couplers. There's another coupler right there, I think, which is 7 couplers, and then another one right there, which would be 8 couplers. A 90 with an elbow. This one has to have a coupler at least 10, 11, like 12 couplers. I'm not feeling 12 couplers on this. But I'm not the greatest welder in the world. So today, this is all the very thin aluminum. This is scrap pieces I've cut, scrap pieces I've had. I put these bad boys together, built me these little jaws for my little vise here. And by golly, those will work. Yep. They're penetrating through. Oh, that was my blow through. But you can kind of see where some of them are going through the pipe. And that makes me pretty happy. We have played around with some stainless and stuff, and well, let's just say I'm not very happy with that. But these will pass, and that'll let me eliminate a bunch of these couplers. These elbow ones will probably have to stay just because I need that gapping for the pipe there. But this one I can eliminate. This one I'll shorten down here, put a bead around this pipe, and then weld another little extension on here, so that'll all be one nice pipe. So that'll be one pipe going up to there, eliminate that one. We have to obviously have those two. I'm gonna probably end up keeping this one, even though I might be able to weld that one, but we'll probably keep it. This one I'll weld the pipe, eliminate that one. We'll weld our elbow on, eliminate that one. And then this one here, I'll be able to weld on and eliminate 2 on that. So maybe about half as many. I'll be okay with that at least. But I'm gonna dive back into just teaching myself some more patience on this. The thing I'm learning with TIG welding is you have to have your pieces very close and very clean and your cuts very nice. MIG welding, you just fill the gap. TIG welding, no gap. That's the difference there. Anyways, hope y'all are enjoying this series. Hope you guys are enjoying this awesome new experience with us. We're getting ready to head out to IFO here sometime in March 6th or 7th or 5th or something like that. Check us out, NS Motor Speedway. I'm gonna run the 8th gen, taking the hatch out to the car show, taking April's Miata out, I believe. So yeah, that's where we're at on this. Let's keep trucking. Where's our weld patrol at? Dunna, 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 dunna. Just remember, you guys all learned and taught yourself one way or another, and I can promise you the very first 2 pieces you welded together were not beautiful. I'm telling you, Picasso did not like them, okay? Anyways, I've got them welded. They do not leak. I did pressure test them. That one runs around, comes around. They're all welded up. Yep, some prettier than others. That I still gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with. But this one's kind of nice. It's all one piece. I welded it all together. It goes down over to the right. There. There's a coupler right there. Bam, bam. And then that's all one piece up. Slides right off, no problem. I'm super proud of myself, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried the TIG welding stuff and it kind of gave up on it quick. But I'm in this for the long haul here. This is the new business, and I am going to push my fabrication skills to the next level and learn how to do all of this. I've been able to MIG weld, getting better with it. Now I'm going to get better with my TIG welding. I'm going to get very, very good with it and progress in this. I jump around and do too much and kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Well, I think I'm going to get this whole Honda stuff, fabricating, mastered. That's my plan here. Building engines, all that, pretty decent at it. Doug's car, it's so far so good. Super, super happy. Made like 260. We need to figure out some VTC things and then it can make some more. But I'm just kind of rambling on at this point. Anyways, boost pipes are almost done. I've got vacuum lines to do, a little bit of wiring to clean up. and this car should be buttoned up there. Interior's got to go back together. Getting real close. Thank you guys for following. Thank you, all of you guys, for the support, all the good comments, bad comments. I love them all, every one of them. Y'all are freaking awesome. Anyways, stay safe, stay blessed. Let's dive back into this. Y'all know the deal. Customer brought us down a bunch of parts that we needed. K-swapped radiator, this oil line here. I got a bung to weld in to the oil pan. All sorts of good stuff to wrap this car up. I got the wife working on the inside of the car today. She's gonna get this steering wheel swapped out. We got an aftermarket one that we're putting on for the customer. We went ahead, got the grill, or I guess the wife got the grill, and we put the lip on. Get those on. I may have to take the fog lights out, get those cut, get them put in there, but making really, really good progress on this. I got the AC drained over the weekend, so I was able to get it removed off the car as well. That was a huge bonus because that's where the radiator's got to go. When you do these swaps, the Hybrid Racing's radiator goes right here, and then the AC condenser goes here, and then the lines go just right into over here. Boom and boom. They make that real simple for you. Anyways, let's jump into this thing, try to get it wrapped up for the customer this week, and see if we can't make some boost noises with it. I am loving this TIG welder. Let me tell you, that Everlast welder, you get it dialed in, and you can really perfect your skill, let me tell you. Look at these ones. I welded those this morning. Those came out really, really nice. That's the latest I've done. Sure, they're not perfect, but they're way better than, like, say, this one over here. And then I actually welded a bead around the bottom side of the turbo, and it came out really good as well. Definitely not no 10-year professional, but for a 1 week amateur, hey, I'm happy with it. We're really cruising on this. I got the radiator in it today too, so that's our new swap radiator. Working on getting some mounts hooked up, but currently I need a feed source from this turbo to go to our wastegate. A lot of people put them into their block, do this or that. I want to tap right here. Some turbos have a source right there for it, and it goes back to there. This one didn't seem to have it, so I have gone ahead and took this leaky fuel pressure regulator right here, got me a source. So I'm going to take this nipple, this tap, this fitting, and this tap, and I'm going to tap it into the turbo housing. Get our source for that done. Once I get it, I can go ahead and keep trucking. Get my wastegate piece put on. Get the source line there. Source line from the blow-off valve. It's right on the bottom side there. It's gonna come over and go right here. So that'll be a good source for it. Actually, I might even be able to go right here. I'm not sure. We'll see. If I go there, I'll definitely take that one. And then I have had the wife in here just going crazy. We got this aftermarket steering wheel put on. Well, she got the aftermarket steering wheel put on. She got these gauges put in. We'll have boost gauge and like oil temp or something. And right now she's working on getting all these plastics put back in and trimmed up. As you guys can see, she's currently cutting that one. Just trimming down the edges to get them to go around this plate. We had to cut a couple spots there. I guess you guys will get to see. Little bit more,
Yep.
Something like that. Ish. So we're just kind of guessing around on those, getting those put on. We got the Momo wheel like we said. I got to make a few adjustments to the exhaust on this one. But other than that, real close here. Get this thing fired up and get it ready to head home. This pipe came out pretty dang close, but it does not touch, so we're good. Anyways, hope y'all are enjoying. Let's dive back into it. pretty painless there. Got me a tap that happened to work with that one. Gonna put a little goop on there, clean that out, thread that back on, clean the turbo housing, throw it back on. I got me some of this Tap Magic, and I am in love with it. I've been using it for everything. Makes things so smooth. Anyways, let's slap this turbo on. Oh yeah, there's my welds from this morning. Those ones are pretty dang good. Don't know what that piece is. That piece. There. Much better. Every time I practice, I get a little better with it. So y'all, go out, find yourselves a TIG welder or whatever you're after. If you're into golfing, go find a set of clubs and just practice. Practice, practice, practice. And eventually, you will get better. I promise. It's alive, it's running, most everything's buttoned up on it, super happy with it. I'm gonna finish button things up on it, take this thing for a little drive, see what it does. I still have this pipe off, just making sure everything's cleaned out before I put it on. I don't want a burr or something to get in there, so I've just been letting some air kind of push through there. I cleaned them out real good kind of as I was putting them together, but you know, never know what you're gonna have in them, so I'm just gonna leave that off for a little bit. But it's all running. Oil lines fed, returns on, turbos on, coolant hoses are on, vacuum lines are ran. Isn't that a pretty blue line? Yes, very nice blue line. Everything's on that we can really think of as far as making the car run. It is down on the ground. I pushed the clutch. It does move forward and backwards. Everything seems to be functioning. We did get the bumper put on it also. Took some cutting. We had to get the fog lights cut out and some of the mesh there. But it all fits. It's all on. This thing's really looking like a complete car. They sound like stinking Subarus. But that's that. We got gauges working. Oil temp gauge, 48 degrees, yep. Boost gauge, I'm not sure if I got the vacuum into the right spot or not, but the gauge itself is actually working. Everything seems to be working there. All the centers in, all my wiring's done over on that side, so I just got to button and tidy it all up. This thing's really close. Key dinger works, everything works as it should. The car sounds pretty dang healthy overall. Real happy with it, I think. So that's where we're at on this thing. I'm gonna go ahead, button up a few things on it, and we need an O2 sensor yet, or 2 O2 sensors. It doesn't have any O2 sensors. We didn't get any O2 sensors or any O2 sensor bungs. So those are little things it needs, just minimal stuff here. So as soon as we get all that taken care of, we'll have a finished running car. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Let's wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will catch you on the next one. We're gonna boo something else. See you later.